And we're live. Welcome to
TK.
TK Talks.
Yep, TK Talks.
Our very first recording, so bear with us, guys. It's one of those things. Yeah. So this episode is going to be StarCraft first.
Starcraft. Starfield. I'll correct you there, T.
All right. Well, I've been playing StarCraft my whole life, so it's one of those things where it's kind of going to be difficult to get it out of me, but I jumped into Starfield recently, and I'll tell you what, man. Our first impressions, this is our first impressions episode, and it's going to be fantastic. So,
I know you have mixed feelings about the title screen, as well as I do.
Yep.
I love the title screen. I like it, but I wish they would have added a little more, like a spaceship or two, or a satellite floating around, instead of just the planet and the bright light of the sun or something coming along the side.
I kind of really like that starkness at the beginning because, to me, you're greeted with this simple screen. You're like, oh, well, that's it. And then all of a sudden it's bright, and you see the stars and the sunrise on the horizon. And you're like, I felt like it was an eye-opening beginning the first time I saw it. I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. I mean, yeah, if they would expand on it a little more as you, watch it progress, it pretty much just ends with the stars and the sun in the sky.
Yeah.
It would be pretty cool to have, a space station float by or something.
Right.
Like that. But, for the most part, I thought they kind of hit the nail on the head because, this is a game that everybody's just been agonizing over to play for, years, 20 years going on. They want to play Fallout in space. They want to play Elder Scrolls in space, And Bethesda has done a wonderful job of promoting it and keeping everything secret as they've gone. So I thought that it was a good surprising beginning. Something stark like that when you're used to seeing the mountains of Skyrim and Elder Scrolls, or Fallout. You're greeted with
like I said, I'm not dissing on the opening screen, the Starfield screen, but I feel like they should have added a little. Yeah. Just that little touch, to me, would have made that difference.
Yeah. Even just like a constellation shape or a constellation logo.
Right.
Would have just made it just that much better. Mm-hmm. I totally agree with that. 100%. What did you think about, the character creation?
Honestly, I'm not a big character creation person. Through The Sims, I literally went with the basic person you can go with. Mm-hmm. And went, yeah, that looks good to me.
Standard white guy.
Let's go roll with that and see where it takes us. Exactly. I personally didn't spend...
I spent probably an hour in the creation design.
Yeah, I literally went with the first person I saw.
I felt like it was, compared to, when I compare it to other Bethesda games, and I've played pretty much all of them. I started playing at Oblivion, I've gone back and played some of the former ones, but really, the modern era of Bethesda starts with the Oblivion and Elder Scrolls series. And I felt like the character creation for Starfield, it is really in-depth and is really intuitive, but it was lacking in ease, I felt. It wasn't easy to create, somebody that resembled me.
Right.
And that's honestly what I was going for. That's why I spent so much time. It's like, I want to see my own face on that screen while I'm playing this game.
Right.
And I didn't quite get that. It took me way too long. It felt like it took me a couple hours to really get something similar, and it really wasn't my favorite by any means.
Yeah, like I said, I personally just didn't spend as nearly as much time as I possibly should have. Yet alone, I didn't even go through the options. I just kind of went, yeah, that one looks good. Yeah. And that so happens to be I picked the guy with the mohawk.
Pick the guy with the mohawk. It's inevitable. There's somebody with a mohawk in every one of those games. It's just wonderful.
So far, what are your thoughts on the game?
So far, I really like it. I know you and I are about the same length into it. We're about 8 hours in, you know.
Yeah.
Not a lot of time, but yeah, dude. I mean, it's been exciting. The graphics are wonderful. I know you play on Xbox and I play on PC, which gives us kind of a nice a difference,
right?
You know, between us.
Perspective between the two.
You know, you got to see it, play it on my PC this afternoon, whereas I haven't seen you play it on Xbox yet, so I don't know.
Eventually, we need to get that worked out.
Eventually, we'll have you playing in the living room and I'll be playing in the bedroom or something.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That depends on if we can get the wives to cooperate, though.
That I don't see that being an issue.
Okay, good.
Not at all. Especially now that we got this up and rolling. I don't see that being an issue because my wife's 100% behind me on this.
That's good.
So
I'm very glad. And my wife will most likely come around. But
and after all, our wives went to school together, so there's that too.
They get along. They get along fantastically. So.
And our kids get along just fine.
Yep. But yeah, Starfield, man. I mean,
yeah.
What are your first impressions? What do you think?
I haven't done, obviously being a little over 8 hours in, I haven't done much of the storyline. You've dived, after what I've seen of yours today, you've done a lot more of the storyline than I have.
Yeah.
So far, I love the storyline. They couldn't have done it any better.
Good. I mean, I love it too. I like just barely into it, getting the artifacts and just starting on that whole realm. We're pretty much on the same mission right now between you and I. I think you're actually farther ahead in the main storyline than I am. I think I ended up on a couple of random side quests, and that's why I discovered Earth, first thing, and it was for a mission, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But yeah, being able to walk around the moon, setting up an outpost in my hometown in Arizona, all of that's just been, it's been a fun experience.
And I like, not to interrupt you, but I like the fact that no matter what choice you make in the game, it affects the outcome of the story.
It seems to, yeah. It really does.
Because I've heard that one person on another podcast that I listen to, they got a mission, like a little side mission, that that no one else got. He was the only one to get this one mission.
Any idea what the mission was?
He was in like a spaceship or something. He had docked another spaceship, and the gravity would turn on and off.
Oh, really?
So he would literally, at times, float up in the air and then come crashing down. Float up in the air, come as crazy. He's shooting enemies.
Oh wow! I wonder if it damaged him while he was doing
that. I don't know. He didn't go into super detail because he didn't want to really get into spoilers and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, for sure.
But no, he said in the podcast that he asked everybody that he knew if they've had that mission, and they're like, "No, we haven't even heard of that mission. We haven't even seen that mission. Where did you get it?" Supposedly he got it off one of the mission boards.
Mission boards, or one of those notes that you pick up for pirates, something like that. So.
But, I mean, I just like the fact that the decision you make in the game could affect the story in some shape or form.
Yeah.
That decision could make you good or bad. And you just don't know which way it's going to take you. I like the docking system.
The docking system is fantastic for the ships. I really like it.
And honestly, if it wasn't for the podcast same podcast I was listening to, they explained how to dock it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for that, I'd still be trying to figure out how to dock. I mean, granted, I know they show
how to dock with the ships that you're fighting, or like
in dock in general.
Docking in general.
And I know they show it in the game, and
they
somewhat
kind of
teach you.
It's a real short blurb, and
yeah.
And I'm coming from the other side of this because I didn't know how to do it. So the first time I went to dock with another ship, I was going full speed, and I was just boom plowed into that ship. And my shields went down to like nothing. I was like, oh no, what's going on?
But like, I wish that one thing I do wish is they would have gone into more detail on how to do things.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Direction.
A little bit, just a little bit more. I mean, I think they kind of expected I think their main demographic, if that's even the right term, is probably the standard like RPG player, and even first-person shooter player or whatever, where you kind of just pick things up. You already know how to play a game like that. It's not a brand new style of game.
Right.
There's a lot of people out there that are picking up a Bethesda game for the first time, for sure. But I think the bulk majority of the people that are buying this game have played Fallout or have played Elder Scrolls in the past, and
right. It's just, I personally haven't really played a whole lot of their games to begin with.
Yeah.
Yes, I've played a few. Like, I've played some Fallout games.
Mm-hmm.
Never played Elder Scroll. Probably said that wrong, but it is what it is.
Elder Scrolls.
But I've never played it. Now, Fallout, I played a handful of the Fallout games.
See,
but I've never been like, I need to go out and get this game. Starfield is that game where I'm like, I want this game.
That's the game.
I want it.
And you see, you come from more of a background of like MMO and multiplayer. You played a lot of Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
And I don't know if you played like Red Dead or any of those.
Off and on.
Went through all that, but what are those, Rockstar games?
Yes, those are Rockstar games.
Does that? So, I mean, you were kind of raised in your gaming life playing those, where I was raised in, other than first-person shooters, I was playing the Elder Scrolls games. I was playing Final Fantasy back in the day when I had my PlayStation 1. I really liked those extended RPGs, the single-player RPGs. That's where my roots are. So this is something that I've been excited about for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've known about it for that long. As long as anybody has known about it, I have. I've kept track of it because it's something that I've been excited about.
Yeah, I like it too. I know for like character traits.
Yeah.
I've got a background of a pilgrim.
Yep.
And then for traits, I've got universal for my first one.
Okay.
Race universal. And my second one, I've got alien DNA.
Nice.
I was like, if I'm going to have alien DNA, yeah, I'm all for it. I want to be part of Alien.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
And then I got spaced for my third.
Nice. So for mine, I went with Kid Stuff, which is one where you end up with parents, which has turned out really cool. Because one of the first things that your dad does for you is gives you like a family heirloom 1911 that somebody had years ago. So
Really?
I just thought that was the coolest thing. To be in space 2,000 years in the future, Earth is a desolate wasteland, and I'm carrying a Colt 1911. I thought that was pretty cool. So Kid Stuff, I did introvert, so I like, it boosts your stats when you're alone, and I enjoy that. I was thinking, because in the Fallout series, they had the Lone Wanderer, was that trait, basically the same thing, the introvert, was Lone Wanderer, and you'd get stat bonuses when you were traveling alone without a companion, but your dog meat, didn't count as a companion. So you could have dog meat with you, and you could just rule that game because you were super powerful, and your dog, I mean, you could build him up to be a pretty awesome dog too, you know.
Right.
And I'm a dog lover. I've got a German Shepherd at home, so you know that's one of the things that I really, really enjoyed with that. And my, actually, to go back one, my background, I did long haul. It was long haul, so I do a little bit better. I get those bonuses when it comes to space and all that, and ship flying and all that. So my third one, I believe I did the Wanted on there. So
isn't that where you've got a bounty on you at all times?
And I actually, this morning, I ran into my first bounty, the bounty hunter.
How'd that turn out?
Well, it took me 3 times to kill him. He killed me twice, but I got him the third. The third time's the charm.
You got twice the money?
No. I just had to, respawn a couple of times. But no, he came up to me, and it's this big long, conversation between the two. He hailed my ship, and I was like, all right, cool, all right, I'll talk to this guy. Maybe I'll talk him down or something. And it basically came down to give me 2,000 credits, and I'll forget you exist, or we can fight. And, well, I like my money, so 2,000 credits. Well, I had like 40,000 credits at the time. 2,000 credits was just a little steep, so I decided to fight him the first, all 3 times. But the second time I went through it again, went through the dialogue, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be more prepared for this battle. I mean, the first battle, he just creamed me. He got around, and I didn't realize he had a friend, so I had a ship behind me that just took out my reactor. The absolute first thing. So I was like, all right, well, the second time I'm going to make sure that I've got both of the ships in front of me while I'm doing this so that maybe I can get the jump on one of them. And I lasted, a decent amount of time, a few minutes in the battle. The third time, I was so fed up, man, I just was like, you know what? I'm not even going to dignify you with a conversation. It says bounty hunter right there. I'm just going to start shooting straight out the gate. And I caught him so off guard, he couldn't even power up his weapons fast enough. I had destroyed the first ship before the second ship even really got an angle on me. And I was able to come around, get behind him, and destroy him.
Oh, he had 2 ships?
Yeah, there was 2 ships.
Oh.
To the bounty hunters. So, and that was the whole thing. The first encounter, I didn't realize that there was a guy behind me.
What do you think of the dogfights and all that in space?
The mechanics of it are actually fantastic. I really like the mechanics. I got into Star Citizen a little while ago. I don't know if you've heard of Star Citizen.
I've heard of it. One of my buddies from work plays it.
It's a lot like Starfield, but it's more of an MMO. It's got, all kinds of players playing it all the time. It's been in beta testing for 2 decades. I think they're finally on their alpha now. I think they came out with it like a month. I don't know. Could have been 6 months. Could have been a year. It's been a while since I played, but they finally started playing the alpha now, so you're actually playing the game. But I found their controls because I played that a little bit. I played Star Wars Squadrons that just came out, not too recently when it comes to ship, ship combat and all that. And I found that Starfield is more intuitive in almost every way than both of those games. And it's been great. The way that they did the WASD, where you've got your rolls and your throttle WASD, and then you've got your mouse just rolling it around. It's completely different for you because you're playing on an Xbox controller and I'm playing on PC. But, yeah. All the controls in the actual dogfighting experience, I think, is great. And the idea that, the energy weapons will drain shields faster. The ballistic weapons, do more damage without shields. When you go into all those little intricacies, then you know how to power your ship in order to actually take combat. One of my traits that I boosted, I'm on like level 7 or level 6, something like that right now. The traits that I boosted was my ballistics, my ship ballistics. So I boosted that trait, and And then I took it over to my starship, the Frontier, and I added a second cannon, so that I had 2 good cannons. And then when I was actually in combat, I was able to do my power distribution, which I think is another fantastic option, being able to redistribute power within your ship systems on the fly.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
How does... I'll get to that in a second, but I have a real big question on how that works with an Xbox controller when you're in the middle of a dogfight. It's fairly difficult for me to take my fingers off the mouse while while I'm in a dogfight and run over to the arrow pad, because it uses the arrow keys on the PC. But just the ability to redistribute power, I was able to redistribute more power to my lasers, my energy weapons, so that once I could drain their shields faster, so that I could get that extra kick of power with the ballistics, and it's helped a lot. It's been great. So.
Yeah, for me, it's more, this is my first actual, space game that I've actually played myself. So, the whole flying your own ship, doing dogfights and stuff like that, it's a different thing for me. Because, like you said earlier, I'm more of the GTA 5, Red Dead, and stuff like that. And I've done some Fable games.
Oh, okay. See, I never played any of those.
I can't wait for the new Fable to come out.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that good, huh?
They haven't done an actual gameplay yet. But, no, I can't wait for the new one to come out. I heard it was supposed to be really, really good. But, anyhow, back to Starfield. For the controller-wise, for Xbox, I really don't mess with any of the levels and stuff.
Oh, really?
I typically do full blast on the weapons.
Okay.
I keep those fully charged.
Weapons and shields? Just weapons and shields?
Weapons and shields, and I have,
obviously, you don't need...
2 marks on...
You don't need your grav drive at all.
Right. I have, 2 marks on... the engine.
Oh, okay.
The rest of it's all... I got the 3 marks on the shield. I believe that's all you can have on the shield, is it?
Yeah, at the beginning.
Is 3
3 marks
three
on
marks.
the shields.
And then the rest of the marks are all on the weapons.
Yeah.
I pretty much keep those fully charged regardless.
Yeah, I think I did 1 mark on the missile system, just because I didn't plan on using missiles very much at the beginning. With the ballistics boost, I decided to max out ballistics, and then I did double time on the lasers, just to make sure that I had enough to get through those shields so that I could ballistic and just shoot them down with my cannons.
Well, and seeing with the controller to shoot, it's both triggers for both weapons.
Okay, well, how do you do the missiles then?
I haven't figured that part out yet.
All right.
I never knew that you could do missiles.
Well, the Frontier comes with missiles straight out the gate.
Oh,
so
yeah.
On the PC, it's, left click is shoot, is lasers, right click is your cannons, and then your missiles are G, which is the same as grenades.
Huh.
When you're playing. So when you're playing first person, it's probably whatever control is grenade on your controller, that's probably missiles for your shot, or for your ship.
Huh. Yeah,
So
I didn't know you could do missiles.
You can shoot missiles line of sight, or you can shoot them with lock on. It's a lot better with lock on. I have yet to hit anybody on a line of sight, but you got to get within a certain distance of the ships, and it narrows down, that box narrows down, and then you're locked on. That's 100% your missile lock. That has nothing to do with your lasers or your cannons or anything else. That's your missile lock. So you can boom, boom, boom. You can shoot 1 missile, or I think I've got 2 missile, missile packs. I don't know what you call them, missile launchers on my Frontier now, because I upgraded it. But yeah,
how much
the missiles are kind of a requirement when you're doing ship-to-ship combat, especially if you've got the wanted trait.
Oh yeah, no, I've been just using the main 2 guns and been taking stuff out.
Yep.
I remember when I first took flight in my spaceship out in the middle of space, right outside the orbit of a planet. I forget which one. But it's at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
But I ended up accidentally hitting the trigger and ended up firing at one of the good ships.
Yep, that will do it.
And right now, my guy has like a 1,000 bounty on him.
Oh, really?
And no one's claimed it yet.
Or
attempted to claim it. No. Or asked me to pay it off yet, so I'm not worried about it now.
I started the game with the bounty with the wanted thing, so... But, my first encounter with doing anything wrong was, I went through, I think it was a moon base or something, on Luna. Pretty sure that's what it was. It was a weapons depot on Luna, Earth's moon, in the game. I don't know what brought me to Earth. I don't think it was the main quest. I'd like to think it was the main quest, but I don't think it was. I think it was a side quest that I was just getting, going down the rabbit hole on.
Right.
It's so easy to do. But I ended up getting to this pirate base, and while I was there, I found some contraband. And once you pick up a contraband item, it gives you a big warning, a yellow warning. It says, warning, if you take this on your ship and your ship is scanned when you get into a friendly system, you could get you'd get arrested or in trouble or whatever. Right. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I was like thinking like, oh, maybe it's just like having a stolen item, when you're in Fallout, you accidentally hit a cop in the back of the head because you're bored, something like that, and then they're like, oh, hey, we're gonna take your stolen items and send you to jail. No, I actually went to jail.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Like, they took me to jail on this jail ship, and I didn't spend much time in jail, but I ended up talking to the boss of the jail ship or whatever, whoever's in charge of this. I think it was the Crimson Fleet or something like that.
Oh, that's funny.
Or they wanted me to, basically they wanted me to infiltrate. I think they wanted me to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet, and they wanted me to get in there and be their spy. Was the whole idea.
Huh.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never had that experience yet. I don't know if I will or not. It's just more of
it's a pretty easy experience. All you got to do is get some contraband and fly into a friendly system.
That's what I'm saying. I've never ran into contraband yet.
No?
No, not once.
Yeah. So I've ran into it twice now, and the second time that I ran into it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave that there. I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to get in trouble with the UN. Like, it's not my number one thing that I want to do.
Yeah. Well, is there more than one group you can join?
Oh, there's a lot of different groups that you can join. There's, the Crimson Fleet. You can be a pirate. You can be a UN. There's all different factions all over the place.
I know, I joined Vanguard.
Vanguard? Okay. I don't think that I think I've been... No, that's the Ecliptic. I've been killing the Ecliptic. You can pretty much join, if it's anything like Fallout, you can pretty much join any of them.
Huh.
So, I know in the Fallout games you had the Minutemen, you had... the Raider gangs, you had all kinds of just
I know options. The Raider gangs.
Well, yeah,
but
Raiders
that's
Raiders.
The extent to that I know.
But you could join a ton of different factions in that game, and depending on which factions you join, it altered the end sequence of the game. So you can play that game like 8 different times.
Huh.
Yeah. It was
so cool. It's back to my original statement where I was like, your choices matters on what your gameplay is.
Oh, for sure.
Your storyline is.
And that's, that's the way it's been with Skyrim, with, Oblivion. All of those have been that way. That's the idea of the big sandbox single-player game that they put out. And this is by far the largest one that they've ever done. I can't even tell you how many hours I spent on Fallout and Skyrim just forgetting that the main quest existed and just going on my own little side quests and building my house and building my, my fortresses and stuff. Fallout, you can build entire buildings and civilizations, and
Really?
you can do manufacturing depots and make your own bullets, and
Really?
you're like hours and hours. I probably got 800 hours into Fallout.
Wow.
And most of it is just tinkering around within the settlement building systems.
Yeah, I never knew that.
And Starfield is going to be the exact same. I just, dabbled in, I tried to, before we started this recording, I tried to dabble in a little bit of everything so that I could give an idea of what I've accomplished and how I thought of what system is what. And I noticed that the settlement system for the outposts is a lot like the Fallout settlement system. So you're going to be able to, and it costs resources. It costs a lot of resources. You've got to get those raw resources in. Haven't figured out how to do that other than mining yet with your stupid laser cutter and walking around. And literally walked around Earth for, I don't know, 30 minutes trying to get more iron out of the Earth, and I found a meteorite impact, and that helped quite a bit, But
that looked cool.
It was cool, but it took forever,
Right.
So it's one of those things where when you get those raw resources, you really got to make sure that you make it back to the ship so that you can store them on your ship. And increasing your ship's carrying capacity is going to be... It's like my number one thing that I want to do with the Frontier. I haven't figured out how, because you can't get an extra cargo hold anywhere around the stupid thing. But I don't know. I'll rebuild the whole thing if I have to. Figure it out.
I thought there was a way you could buy a ship.
You can buy other ships also, but they range. I think they start. I think one of the cheapest ship that you can buy in the game, at least on the home world or whatever, I forget, the name of the world. Obviously, I haven't put that much time into it yet. But the first ship the cheapest ship I think is like $45,000 or $50,000
really
to buy a new ship.
Huh.
So they're expensive, and I mean in 8 hours I've generated that type, up to that financially, but that ship is of a much lower quality than the Frontier. So when it comes to like hit points and speed and travel and everything, you're getting an X-wing for the Millennium Falcon.
Right. There's a big difference
there. You're ditching the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, no, I know I probably been making money doing missions and stuff, but I couldn't tell you. I haven't spent a dime, but I can't tell you how much money I've got. I meant to look earlier before I left my house.
I made it up to about $42,000. The only reason I really noticed how much money I had is because my character was so overloaded with all of his stuff that I couldn't walk around without losing all of my oxygen straight out the gate.
Yeah, that's another thing is I know there's ways you can make your oxygen levels better and stuff like that, and I know a lot of it has to do with weight and how much you're carrying and so on and so forth like that. But I wish the oxygen level lasted a little longer. Because
it's one of those things. I actually really like the fact that you can expend that oxygen and move. Because in the Fallout series or in the Elder Scrolls series, when you're over encumbered, you have too much weight, it totally negates your ability to run, period. Like, you can only walk everywhere. Like, I'm talking slow walk. Not sprint, slow walk. Like,
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at now.
You might as well just walk everywhere. You can sprint for, like, half a second.
Yeah, that's
and then it takes forever to regenerate, But, I mean, I'm a fairly seasoned Bethesda game player, so I have an idea of what that is. So I looked into that system right out the gate, and I know my character is going to start with like a 0 weight capacity. So I think it's one of the long hauler traits that actually gives you a little bit more weight capacity. I can hold like 150 kilos or something.
Huh.
You know, and I remember the first time I landed my ship, I loaded all of my inventory onto my dude, and I had like 500 kilos, and I tried to walk to the nearest like place to sell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it almost killed me. I burnt through like half of my health by the time I had gotten.
Oh, wow.
Because if you let that CO2 build, by the time the CO2 maxes out, it starts taking down your health bar.
Oh, I was wondering about that because, like, today, I got the red all the way up. Like, and I was still going.
Wow.
And I was like, why is my health dropping?
Yeah. No.
Now I know why.
Yeah, because you're suffocating yourself because you're carrying 2 cars on the back.
But see, and that's the thing. I've got 2 people to go with me wherever I go. I got the robot, and then, I believe right now I have the cowboy.
Yeah.
And I've got a total of 3 people right now.
Yeah.
1 stays with the ship. I've given the girl some parts to hold on, some stuff to hold on to. I've given the cowboy some stuff to hold on. I've given the robot some stuff to hold on to, and I'm still over. I'm like, how am I over?
I noticed that the main thing that weighs the most in the game that I've kind of come across is if you end up with ship parts, those weigh 10. If you destroy a ship in battle, you get those ship parts. Typically, I think when you're in space and you're in the ship, go straight into the ship inventory. But if you're out and about and you pick something up that says ship parts, it weighs 10 kilos. Like, I mean, if you can only carry 100 kilos, that's a tenth of your weight capacity. You know, I know that my dude with nothing, no health packs, none of the food or any of the stuff that you can get, no resources, no miscellaneous stuff, just the guns that I want to keep in my favorite spar, and my 1 spacesuit and helmet, and my 1 backpack, he weighs like 60 kilos. So that gives me 90 kilos spare that I've got to distribute between health packs and, food or water or boosts or, drugs or whatever it is, in the game that you want to have on you. And ammo doesn't weigh anything, which is really nice about it. And that's streamlined beyond, like all Bethesda games. Arrows don't weigh anything in the Elder Scrolls. Fallout, bullets don't weigh anything, bombs don't weigh anything. I think frag grenades get a weight off of frag grenades and mines and stuff like that, grenades and mines. You get a little bit of weight off of those. But when it comes to straight bullets, they don't weigh nothing.
How does that work?
Well, I mean, if each one of them weighed, even 0.1 kilo, and you had 800 of them, I mean, you would be overweight in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
Huh.
So, I think they eliminated that early on in Bethesda, and that's one of the things that I really like about the game, because, I mean, it's not very realistic, but if I was having to carry around 1,000 rounds for each pistol that I had in my pocket, it would be a problem.
Right.
I'd be running out of ammo all the time. If
that
was
yeah.
the case.
Hands down. That's the one thing I noticed with this game real quick. With your guns, you run out of ammo so fast. It's not even a joke.
Yeah. I mean, I got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm fighting the Ecliptic. Going through the main storyline, fighting the Ecliptic. And I've got that Grendel or whatever it's called. It's like a bullpup machine gun. And, every time I kill somebody, I pretty much just pick up their ammo and keep running. I'm like, all right, where's the next guy? And I'll look at their ammo. I look at the guy that I just massacred on the ground, and I'll look at him, and I'll bring up his screen, and I'll be like, I've got the extended mag one, so it holds 100 rounds. And I'll look at it, and I'll be like, does he have over 100 rounds? Yes. Did it take me a mag to get rid of him? No. Okay, well, that was a positive effort. Let's get the next one. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I typically when I go after somebody. I haven't met up with the group you were just talking about.
The Ecliptic yet?
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
I think I'm too soon. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Or I just already ventured off and didn't realize it.
Something, yeah.
I heard it was really easy to get off sidetracked.
It is ridiculously easy to get sidetracked.
And so, whenever I kill... I mean, mainly I'm after the pirates right now.
Yeah.
That's who I'm mainly after.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I came across the planet where it had some sort of factory. It's not a robotic, it's not gun or anything. But pirates are all over this place.
Yeah.
So, of course, it auto-saved, right as I have, like, an inch of health.
No.
I'm like, oh, well,
That's
this is gonna be awesome. So I spent...
Did you jump into it in your ship, or are you, like, in first-person mode?
I'm in first-person mode.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
Because my ship's over 1,000 kilometers away.
I've done that a million times where you're like, oh, no! Like, you spawn into it, and then you're dead. And you spawn into it, and you're dead. And you spawn into it, and you're dead. So you're like, okay, I'll run left this time. I'll run right this time.
And it doesn't do any
good. I'll backpedal
good.
this time. I'll lay flat on the ground. I will just shoot myself in the head. Why not? These games are just so incredible.
And so it got to a point earlier today, I should say. I actually went back to save file.
Yeah.
And went, I'll take a break from that one and go do something else.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other than that, overall, I know I'm a little over 8 hours in. I'm in no shape or form that, to actually give a rating number.
Yeah.
But if I were to, I've been hearing and reading, a lot of people are giving it a 7.
A lot of people are giving it a 7.
Which, from what I understand, 7s aren't good. Which, I question that.
I consider 7 a solid choice. From 1 to 10, anything less than 5 being mediocre or bad, and anything above 5, I would give it probably an 8.
Yeah,
an
same here.
8.5 in my personal statistics, where I say that it is above average and probably, one of the better games that I've played in a very long time.
Yeah, same here.
Probably since, Fallout 4 came out. When Fallout 4 came out, they came out with so many unique things within it, and being able to, and coming from playing Star Citizen to playing Starfield, I personally am much more into Starfield. It is bar none a much better game, a much more developed game, everything. Everything about it
coming from
10 times better.
Fable to Starfield, it's definitely gotten me back into the choices you make type of games.
Yeah.
It's definitely got me more into those games now that I played Starfield. I'm like, now all I do when I get to work is I tell all my coworkers, I'm like, listen, I want to hurry up and get the day over with so I can go home.
Yep.
And spend an hour, 2 hours, or maybe just 30 minutes on the game.
Pretty much the only amount of time that I've had is after the wife goes to bed. Once the wife goes to bed, you work nights, so your whole family is asleep. You get off of work and you're wired and your family's asleep. You can play all night, no problem. But
kind of.
I get home from work, mid afternoon, and I've got to do dinner and take care of the kids and then do bedtime stories. Watch a movie with the wife, and then she goes to bed. I jump on the PC and I'm like, all right. It's my time now. Let's do this.
Yeah, see,
I look forward to that, though.
Don't get me wrong. I used to work days, but just recently they moved me over to nights, and So in a sense, I'm still kind of getting used to it, but I'm also used to it at the same time from the past. And it, by the time I get home, it's 2:30 in the morning, and by the time my eyes are like, no, we're done, it's like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm usually no longer up past 3:30 is usually my limit, unless I'm in a really deep mission where I'm like, no, I gotta see this out. Nope.
We gotta do this. I gotta know where this is headed. Well, I mean, it's a fantastic game. Bethesda keep working on these games. You know, I look forward to Elder Scrolls when it comes out. Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out. You know, Fallout 5 eventually, probably 20 years down the line, or however long you guys are going to do it. But yeah, I am very happy with Starfield so far, and I would love to do another update on Starfield. You know, when we get into when
more
the two
hours
of us
in,
get a few more hours into it, and really do a more in-depth dive into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
More than just our first impressions, because that's what today's all about.
But also, yes, right. Today's episode, we're talking about Starfield. We are doing everything. We're gonna try and cover everything we can.
Yep, we're gonna cover every topic that comes to mind, and you know, whether it be football or Starfield, video games, you know, camping, prepping, whatever, you know, any of that stuff that we're interested in, we'll be all over it. So our channel's gonna be kind of a lot, but it's going to be a fun channel. So
yeah,
we're gonna have
absolutely.
A good time.
Which, NFL,
This weekend starts tomorrow.
Go Cards. Let's go.
Well, it started Thursday.
Yeah,
but,
Thursday.
You know.
But the majority of the football teams start
Cardinals
Sunday.
Start tomorrow. So that's what we're really looking forward to.
Yeah. I'm curious to know how Dubs.
Yeah, me too.
However you say his last name.
Yeah, he's too new. I don't know his last name.
But from what I understand, he was from another team.
Yep.
We did get rid of McCoy.
Yep, we did. We did lose McCoy.
I
think that was kind of a big loss personally. I really liked Colt McCoy. I thought he brought a level-headedness to the game from that veteran perspective, but I know that he was redundant once we got the other guys, so...
Yeah, well, and in my opinion, yes, don't get me wrong, Colt's an awesome player and all that. I love Colt. He's a fantastic player. I wish he would have stayed longer. But the way I was seeing it, it was either retire time,
yeah,
or get release time.
He was a veteran.
It was,
sure. He was
up there in age, and
he was at the end of his roster.
Murray being hurt, he's back on the PUP list.
Yep.
They're waiting for him to say, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Which, with that being said, a lot of people are going around and saying that he's not going to be ready until midway through the season. I highly doubt that. I could see him maybe not the first handful of games, but after that, I could see him back in.
Oh, for sure. Well, Kay, I'd say that we should save that for another friendly episode of TK Talks.
Absolutely.
We'll probably finish out the day with a strong note on Starfield. I give it an 8.5. What do you give it?
About the same, 8.5.
About the same. You give Starfield an 8.5. If you haven't played it, go ahead and play it.
It's also on Game Pass.
Yeah.
If you have a subscription to Game Pass, I highly suggest you install it.
Absolutely.
It's an awesome game. Definitely worth the download.
Yep.
Because that game, I believe, comes out to right now it's at 101 point something for me on Xbox.
Something like that. So we're going to call this a day, though. You guys have a good afternoon, and we're going to let you go.
Yep. And have a good day.
All right. Thanks.